Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Sanjeev Thukral, the founder of neurIOT Labs, a startup using AI and IoT methods to turn complex enterprise data into actionable insights for users. But before we dive more into the company, I want to take it back to where it all began. I actually grew up in a family and community where technology was the center and focus of our lives. And I guess that's how I grew up loving the field of STEM. But Mr. Chakral, can you take us back to your early days in India? What was your childhood like? And were there any challenges or experiences that shaped your path towards tech?
Sure. Thanks, Ansh. Thanks for having me on this podcast. I have very fond memories of my childhood. I was actually born in a small town near New Delhi.
Mhm.
It is a industrial town. It smelled like machines wherever you went, right? And then on top of that, my dad was a auto parts manufacturer. I used to play a lot with kids, neighborhood kids, and especially rural kids, who would come from villages, and we would play marbles and the kind of sports which were are deeply using the concepts of physics or mechanical engineering, you could say,
Mhm.
right? But my greatest influence has been my parents. My mom is a mathematician. She would take me to school to her class while she was teaching class 10 students. I was uh, listening to number theory and linear algebra. So I think
Mhm.
that could have influenced my bent towards mathematics. And then my dad being an auto parts manufacturer, he would bring discarded vernier calipers and micrometer home as if those were my toys. uh, so I think I probably can say that I had a perfect childhood, which created a technology bent in me, right? And then I aspired to do engineering from one of the IITs, and I was lucky enough to be admitted in IIT Delhi. So 4 years
Mhm.
of electrical engineering with some of the greatest minds in the world actually instilled a lot of deep tech into me in my DNA.
Wow, yeah. I guess it's been a long process. But let's jump into neurIOT Labs now. And for those who aren't familiar, um, could you explain what exactly neurIOT Labs does and what problem is it solving today?
So, like what the name suggests, neurIOT stands for AI on the edge. I founded neurIOT 8 years ago with the mission of solving industrial problems through AI and IoT. Uh, our foundation lies in four broad areas. One is classical machine learning, then NLP and generative AI, computer vision, and Internet of Things. In the last 8 years, we would have solved more than 100 industrial problems through AI and IoT in the field of health insurance, food and beverages, transportation and logistics, energy and utilities, and in the public sector. If I were to just categorize these 100 plus projects, I think I can say broadly we do four things, for the industry. Either we are profiling our customers, key stakeholders, like their customers, their suppliers, their employees, or anybody who influences their business, or we are predicting business outcomes through machine learning, or we are automating business processes through generative AI and NLP, or we are making sense of video feeds through computer vision, through AI models, and bringing it into the business process. So that's what neurIOT primarily does, for the industry.
Yeah, and I was also reading about Find Out AI, and I thought it was fascinating how it lets like users run natural language queries over a connected web of data, which is pretty powerful. And can you also explain a bit more about Find Out AI and Vision B and how they stand out from others in the AI and IoT landscape right now?
Of course, sure. So, Find Out is a suite of generative and agentic AI frameworks. Its document AI variant can make sense of visually rich documents. If you look at any document today, right, it has a structure to it, right? It has a title, it has
Yeah.
paragraphs, it's got, pictures and tables, right? But as
Hmm.
humans, what do we do first? We actually look at the structure of the document and then we go deep into it. So what Find Out really does, the document AI version, it basically applies VLMs to find the structure. It finds semantic chunks or logical chunks which we should use for deep knowledge extraction. And then we use KIE encoding and embedding models to create deep knowledge out of it. Find Out AI can also connect and work with business applications such as Oracle Apps and Salesforce through its agentic AI architecture. We have an audio variant which can search audio streaming data and make it searchable. And then we talk about Vision B. It's a computer vision device which has been built on top of the NVIDIA stack. It has a computer vision pipeline and it has its own AI models. So through Vision B, we actually brought the capability of extracting knowledge from video feeds and making them part of the business process. So if I were to say, Find Out AI and Vision B aim to unlock deep enterprise knowledge from unstructured and structured data forms in a highly secured environment. The power of these products lies in the versatility and the business orientation.
I think a lot of people watching want to know the big question. How exactly did you build neurIOT from scratch? Can you guide us through the process?
Absolutely. So, I was a business leader at a French company 15 years ago, and my
Hmm.
job was to bring European solutions to the country, to India. Now, these were deep tech solutions like the fingerprint identification system, number plate recognition. Uh, but what I realized then was that these solutions were not really made for India. India needed homegrown solutions that had been built ground up from Indian data. In 2016, one of my friends from IIT influenced me to come to his home state. He's a senior police officer in the middle part of our country. He invited me to help solve crime using AI. So we ended up building our first AI solution, which
Wow.
extracted modus operandi, the crime characteristics from first information reports.
Hmm.
I think this laid the foundation for neurIOT in 2017. Very early on in neurIOT, another friend of mine who's a professor at Harvard Medical School, he invited me to be principal investigator in two of his research projects.
Hmm.
Now that brought me deep into medical science. We solved two research projects in the field of endocrinology. And then in 2019, another friend of mine who is at a large health insurance in America, he invited me to solve the problem of claims processing for them. Now, this led to our first generative AI framework. In 2021, we actually had a running application, a running functional generative AI framework, which was reading insurance guidelines and patient records to expedite insurance claims faster. Eventually, we
Hmm.
ended up building Find Out AI, our own generative AI framework. And then we haven't really looked back. We've remained quite committed to solving industry problems using AI and IoT.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, we're living in a time where everything's suddenly AI powered, but it feels like everything has a chatbot now. But also, I've been wondering, do these companies really need generative AI, or do you think they're just being sold something they don't fully understand yet?
I think so. I think, if I would say at personal level, we all have already started to use AI, right? I mean, we use
Hmm.
ChatGPT, for example. Likewise, enterprise AI is also evolving quite at a phenomenal rate, actually. I can see almost every company of any size wanting to implement AI as part of their business. The real problem is the very slow rate at which it's being really deployed, as if the trust is still missing, in operationalizing AI to manage their business processes. I I truly believe that most companies actually do need generative AI, but they will need people who understand it better or who can design AI enabled business for them. You know, they are also looking for some good success stories, which can actually fuel a belief in AI. And I think once that happens, we'll see AI adoption skyrocket in the enterprise, and everything will get transformed.
Hmm. Another thing I was curious about is that a lot of your work is deployed in high stakes sectors like healthcare and insurance. So, how do you personally think about risk, bias, and failure in these AI systems when real people are affected by these things?
See, the quality and completeness of data plays a vital role in avoiding bias in AI models. Unfortunately, there's no magic wand, to solve this problem for us. So we see all data has a regional bias or a regional flavor to it, and it's natural that it will lead to training models, which are going to be biased. So in fact, I saw this quite early on in 2012 when we tried to bring these European solutions into India. They did not work for our country. As a rule of thumb, we need to have at least 10 times as many data points as there are features in the data set. As data
Hmm.
scientists and AI engineers, we try our best to ensure that we have sufficient data which represents all scenarios of the business. And that's something any AI solution provider must ensure. And so it's important to look at any AI model's eval metrics, the scores, and make sure that it is fit for business. Otherwise, it will not solve the problem. So, any customer who deploys AI and the ones we have been working with, they definitely make sure that the solution is fit for purpose and is achieving the desired results. Otherwise, it doesn't go into production.
Oh, okay. So they basically double check on top of your guys's. Okay, that
Absolutely.
makes sense. Yeah. Finally, my last question. The other day, my friend was talking about building his own company, and we have a lot of young listeners on this podcast. So, what's one piece of advice you could give to an aspiring founder who wants to launch a meaningful tech company one day?
Well, I would say you should believe in your conviction, you should enjoy what you do, and then simply focus on execution. AI has an amazing potential of solving so many problems we see around us. Just find the right one and get started. I would also say that choose your partners well. You should believe in the same vision and must have
Hmm.
similar aspirations for your startup. Otherwise, it will not work out.
Yeah, I love that. Mr. Thakral, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. It's been incredible having you on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ansh. I enjoy talking to you. Thank you.